Chosen. 1. Heaven just pressed pause. The world keeps spinning. But right now, heaven has stopped time itself just to reach you. Every distraction, every noise, every thought that tried to drown this still, sacred voice silenced. Because in this very moment, God is speaking directly to your spirit. You have felt it, the pull, the weight, the strange stirring deep inside that refuses to be ignored. That is not coincidence. That is calling. You have walked through nights where your tears became your prayers, through seasons where silence felt like abandonment. But it wasn't. God was not ignoring you. He was preparing you. You have been preserved. Not forgotten. Hidden. Not abandoned. The ache you carried was not wasted pain. It was holy pressure forming purpose. Heaven had to keep you in the shadows until your roots were deep enough to carry what's coming. Because if you had bloomed too early, the wind of opposition would have uprooted you. Now, you are ready. That's why this message has found you. Heaven does not waste words. You've wondered why doors closed without warning, why people left without explanation. Chosen one. It was divine protection. God removed what couldn't go with you. You prayed for clarity, but instead, He gave you separation because some attachments are too heavy for elevation. You must understand something profound. Every heartbreak was a holy transaction. Every season of silence was an investment in your discernment. God's absence was an illusion. He was closer than your own breath. Watching, building, aligning every step to lead you right here. The warfare that surrounded you was never proof of weakness, but confirmation of assignment. The reason hell came so hard against you is because heaven has placed something inside you that threatens darkness itself. You carry light, and that light, your light, terrifies demons. You've been misunderstood because you were never meant to be understood by the average. You've been different because you were never designed to fit average patterns. You were created to interrupt them. You are a divine disruption in human form, a living prophecy walking the earth. When heaven presses pause, it is not to delay you, it's to draw you into awareness. You are being reminded that you're not in survival mode anymore, you're in activation mode. Every scar now speaks of your endurance. Every loss is turning into leverage. The oil that's about to pour from your life is the oil that comes only through crushing. Chosen one. Listen. You are about to step into rooms your name has already been mentioned in. People will begin to recognize the hand of God over your life, even if they never believed before. But before the rising comes, the refining. This pause, this sacred silence, is heaven adjusting your spirit to match your next level. As the Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 29, verse 11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, to give hope and future." You may not realize it yet, but even your smallest yes to God shifts the atmosphere around you. Every act of obedience sends ripples through eternity. Your surrender is more powerful than your strength. Heaven does not respond to perfection, it responds to submission. And your submission is what opens unseen doors. Chosen one. Look back for a moment at all the times you thought you would break, but didn't. That resilience was not just survival, it was evidence of divine protection. What crushed others only carved you. What ended others only launched you. Every scar is proof you were carried by God's hand. There is a weight in your spirit right now that cannot be explained, only experienced. That is the confirmation you've been waiting for. You are stepping into divine acceleration, where delays lose their grip and purpose takes the lead. The Lord says, "Your time is not coming, it has already arrived." Oh, let that settle in your soul. Heaven has not forgotten you. It has been orchestrating everything for your unveiling. The time of waiting is over. The time of walking begins. If this message resonates in your spirit, don't ignore it. Like this word, share it with another soul that's on the edge of giving up. And before you scroll, subscribe so that you never miss what heaven releases next. Then comment below. 777 as a prophetic act that you receive divine alignment and step into God's timing. You were marked long before you knew your own name, before your first breath, before your first cry, before your eyes ever opened to this world's light. Heaven had already whispered your purpose into existence. You are not a coincidence. You are a divine assignment wrapped in human form. Every heartbeat of yours echoes a heavenly blueprint. Chosen one, do you truly understand what it means to be marked? It means heaven recognized you, even when the world rejected you. It means your existence disrupts the ordinary. It means you were chosen in a realm beyond time, set apart for something that cannot be replicated. That mark, God's mark, is not seen with eyes, but felt in the spirit. It draws favor and warfare at the same time. The truth is, that mark comes with a mystery. It makes you both magnet and mirror. You attract what needs healing and reflect what people fear to confront. You reveal what others try to hide. That's why people have loved you and envied you, drawn to your light, yet intimidated by your peace. They sense in you what they've buried in themselves, the trace of the divine. But that mark also made you a target. The enemy noticed your potential before you ever did. That's why you fought battles that seemed unfair. That's why you faced storms you didn't cause. Darkness always attacks what carries light. Yet, every attack that tried to destroy you only carved your identity deeper into your spirit. There were seasons when you questioned if you were cursed, when everything you touched seemed to break. You wondered if maybe you were the problem. But what if I told you those failures were not punishment but proof? Proof that you were never meant to function in systems built by those without your anointing. You don't fit their molds because you were designed to break them. Chosen one. Your mark means you walk under divine surveillance. Heaven has watched your tears fall like rain, counted each one, and stored them as prophecy. The pain that pressed you was not wasted. It was shaping something eternal. You've been through trials that others couldn't survive. Yet, you remain standing. That's not chance. That's covenant. There's a sacred loneliness that comes with being marked. The conversations you crave, the understanding you seek, it rarely comes. Not because people don't care, but because they can't comprehend. The chosen rarely find mirrors among the crowd. You were called to walk roads that few will ever travel, to bear truths that can't be spoken aloud. Sometimes you hide your strength because it scares people. Sometimes you silence your wisdom because it offends their comfort. But heaven whispers, do not shrink to fit what I called you to shift. You were not chosen to blend in. You were chosen to transform. You are not meant to echo, you are meant to awaken. You have always carried something ancient in your eyes, something that remembers heaven's rhythm. That's why you crave meaning when others chase pleasure. That's why you can feel the spiritual temperature of a room the moment you enter it. You are a discerner. a carrier of divine frequency. You were marked not just for revelation, but for restoration. The Lord wants you to understand, being marked doesn't make you superior, it makes you responsible. You are called to stand where others fall, to speak when others are silent, to see hope where others see despair. The mark is not a crown of pride, it's a mantle of burden. It's heaven trusting you with pain that becomes prophecy. Do you remember the times when you almost lost faith? But something unseen, kept you from letting go completely. That was the mark speaking. That was the divine fingerprint anchoring your spirit when everything else failed. You couldn't walk away, because what's inside you is older than your doubt. As the apostle reminds us in his letter to the Ephesians, chapter 1, verse 4, "For he chose us in him before the creation of the world to be holy and blameless in his sight." Chosen one. You've spent years searching for purpose, not realizing that purpose has been searching for you. The mark of God is not something you earn, it is something you carry. It cannot be removed, diluted, or ignored. Even when you ran from it, it followed you. Even when you sinned against it, grace shielded it. So stop apologizing for your difference. Stop explaining your fire to those still content with smoke. You are marked to bring clarity, marked to bring order, marked to bring light. You are heaven's reminder to the earth that God still writes his name on human hearts. There will be more battles, more misunderstandings, more nights of silence, but this time you will see differently, because now you know who you are. You are not lost, you are located. You are not forgotten, you are chosen. The mark is your evidence. And heaven has not changed its mind about you. You have carried more than most, haven't you? The weight you've felt on your chest, the invisible battles behind your smile, the nights when even prayer felt heavy, none of that was wasted. The burden you've carried wasn't punishment, it was refinement. God has been sculpting you through pressure, chiseling away everything that was never meant to stay. Chosen one. The world sees only the surface. They see your calm, your strength, your grace under fire. But heaven sees the nights you almost broke. Heaven saw when you wiped away tears before stepping out to encourage someone else. Heaven saw the moments when you were holding everyone up while secretly collapsing inside. And through all of it, you never quit. You didn't realize it, but every sleepless night was a seed planted in eternity. You've been carrying spiritual weight most can't perceive. That's why you've felt misunderstood, even in rooms full of people. That's why you've felt the ache of loneliness that words can't name. It's not because something's wrong with you, it's because something divine is working through you. You've been carrying a mantle. And mantles are never light. Every wound you received was a lesson disguised as loss. Every betrayal taught you to trust differently. Every disappointment trained your discernment. You prayed for strength, and God sent storms. You asked for growth, and he sent pruning. You begged for peace, and he silenced everything that distracted you, including people. The Lord never wastes pain. Every ache becomes instruction. Every delay becomes development. You thought you were being crushed, but in reality, you were being commissioned. Heaven refines his chosen ones, not in comfort, but in chaos. Because fire doesn't destroy gold, it reveals it. The truth is, the greater the calling, the heavier the shaping. You were never meant to walk easy roads. That's why your process looked different. While others were celebrating, you were rebuilding. While others were sleeping, you were wrestling. But look at you. You survived what was supposed to end you. The evidence that you're still here is proof that heaven's hand never left your shoulder. And you must hear this. That burden you've carried has been preparing you to carry others. You were not crushed to stay small. You were stretched to hold more. The capacity inside you has grown through every heartbreak, through every test, through every unanswered prayer. You are now equipped to comfort the broken because you know what brokenness feels like. There's a certain holiness in pain that the comfortable will never understand. Suffering teaches empathy. It sharpens discernment. It makes your spirit tender and your faith fierce. And now, God is about to turn your private pain into public purpose. The tears that baptized your pillow are becoming the oil of your anointing, as was spoken in the sacred texts of old. In the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 17, "For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all." Chosen one. You are emerging from this season with a new posture. You will not walk the same. You will not see the same. The weight that once crushed you will now crown you. You are entering the moment where your testimony becomes someone else's survival guide. And when they ask how you kept going, you'll tell them, "Because even when I was weak, His hand was strong." Oh, you have carried the weight of grief, betrayal, and uncertainty. But soon you will carry joy, peace, and clarity. What once drained you will now sustain you. You are not defined by what hurt you. You are refined by what healed you. The strength you gained in private will soon echo in public. Now, as you sit with these words, let your spirit breathe. Heaven is proud of you. You may not have heard that lately, but it's true. Every time you chose faith over fear, forgiveness over bitterness, patience over panic, heaven recorded it. You were seen. You were never forgotten. And now, I want you to do something simple but powerful. Comment below. Still standing. Type it not just as words, but as a declaration that you have endured, that you have survived what was meant to bury you. When you write it, you're agreeing with heaven's verdict, that no weapon formed against you prospered, that the weight you carried became your witness. So, chosen one, lift your head. You made it through. The fire didn't take you, it transformed you. The storm didn't drown you, it baptized you. And what's ahead of you is far greater than what's behind. You've carried the weight of preparation. Now, you'll walk in the reward of purpose. You've noticed it, haven't you? The strange resistance that seems to follow you wherever you go. The unexplainable opposition that rises up right when you start moving in the right direction. The way certain people, without cause, turn cold or distant when your spirit begins to shine a little brighter. That's not coincidence, it's recognition. Darkness recognizes you. Chosen one, you carry a light that hell cannot ignore. You were marked for illumination. And because of that, the shadows have studied you since birth. Before you even knew who you were, the enemy did. He saw the potential in your purpose, the authority in your voice, and the fire in your spirit. And he knew that if you ever discovered who you truly are, his hold on the territory around you would be broken. You felt it, haven't you? The heaviness when you wake up some mornings, for no reason, the sudden discouragement that seems to come from nowhere, the moments where confusion clouds your clarity right after you take a bold step of faith, those aren't coincidences, they're counterattacks. Every time you advance in obedience, resistance rises. But hear this truth clearly: resistance is proof of relevance. You terrify darkness not because of what you've done, but because of what you carry. You carry authority. You carry an assignment. You carry the name of the one who already defeated every power that rises against you. That's why the enemy uses distraction, fear, and doubt. If he can't destroy you, he'll try to drain you. But even in your weariness, your light remains undefeated. Chosen one. Never forget, darkness doesn't attack darkness. It attacks light. The very fact that you've faced such intense pressure is evidence that you are carrying something that matters. Your prayers shift atmospheres. Your worship breaks chains. Your obedience unlocks regions. The enemy doesn't waste energy on those who pose no threat. He invests it in those who carry transformation. There have been times when you've wondered why spiritual warfare seems to circle you. You've asked, "Why me, God?" But heaven responds, "Because I trusted you with territory. Your light reaches places others cannot. Your intercession breaks barriers others don't see. You are not under attack because you are weak. You are under attack because you are effective. You've walked through emotional battles, relational storms, financial struggles, all of them meant to make you question your worth. But what the enemy doesn't realize is that every hit only makes your armor stronger. Every tear polishes your faith. Every setback becomes the setup for another level of glory. The darkness recognizes your endurance, and it fears your awakening. Because once you realize that the same Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead lives in you, the game changes. You begin to walk with holy confidence. You stop reacting and start commanding. You stop fearing the dark and start shining brighter. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14, "You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden." End of. Do you understand what that means? Chosen one. It means no matter how many times the enemy tries to cover you, God keeps uncovering you. You cannot be hidden. You cannot be silenced. You were designed to be seen not for ego, but for impact. So, the next time you feel resistance rising, don't panic. Recognize it. Smile. Even. Because that opposition is confirmation that your light is doing its job. Shadows only appear when there's illumination. The darkness fights back because you're taking territory that once belonged to fear. You're not cursed. You're commissioned. You're not under attack. You're under assignment. You've been placed in the midst of warfare because you were built for victory. Every time you refuse to quit, heaven wins another battle through you. You are not fighting alone. Angelic forces surround you, reinforcing every step you take in faith. And though the world may never fully understand the depth of what you carry, heaven does. The light within you burns with divine intention. Keep shining. Even when the night deepens, keep walking. Even when the path narrows. For every flicker of your faith is a torch in the unseen realm. You don't need to prove your light. You just need to protect it. Stay rooted in prayer. Stay anchored in truth. Stay steady in your calling. For the same light that draws opposition also draws destiny. And soon, what once attacked you will testify of your endurance. Darkness recognizes you. chosen one. But it cannot stop you, because what's inside you was born before the beginning, and it carries the signature of eternity. There are moments, chosen one, when the silence around you feels louder than any storm, when your prayers seem to hang unanswered in the air, when isolation feels endless, and the wilderness stretches farther than your hope. You have asked, "Why does it feel like I'm walking alone?" But heaven answers gently, "Because I needed you to hear me without the noise of others." When the wilderness has never been punishment, it has always been preparation. God calls his chosen ones away from the crowd so they can learn his voice without the echo of approval. It's in the silence that your discernment sharpens. It's in the solitude that your roots dig deeper. What feels like emptiness is actually the classroom of destiny. You have been the voice in the wilderness, carrying words that sometimes felt too heavy for your tongue. You've tried to explain your vision to those who could not see beyond what was visible. They questioned your faith, your choices, your calling. But what they didn't understand was that you were being trained in divine isolation. God hides his prophets before he reveals them. He tests their obedience before he releases their influence. As we are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 63, verse 1, "O God, you are my God. Earnestly I seek you. My soul thirsts for you. My flesh faints for you, as in a dry and weary land where there is no water." And those words were not written from comfort, they were written from a cave. David, too, was a voice in the wilderness, hunted and hidden, yet still worshipping. That's what you are learning now, how to praise while waiting, how to hope while hurting, how to see light in a place the sun barely touches. You see, chosen one, the wilderness is not just a place, it's a process. It strips away illusions. It silences distractions. It teaches you to walk by spiritual senses, not human understanding. It prepares you to handle the weight of glory without collapsing under it. Imagine a seed buried in the dark soil. It might look forgotten, but in that darkness, it's actually breaking open. The pressure of the dirt, the lack of light, it's not death, it's development. That's what God is doing with you. You've been buried, not buried alive, but planted. The season of hiddenness was never about abandonment, it was about activation. When your season shifts, when the winds change, you'll realize the wilderness taught you endurance that comfort never could. The silence taught you to recognize the shepherd's voice. The loneliness taught you that presence is not measured by company but by communion. Now, as you hear this message, you might feel that quiet ache again, the one that reminds you how long you've been walking unseen. But let this truth soak in. God never forgets what he plants. Every tear you sowed in that dry season is watering your next harvest. Every lonely night is counted as currency in heaven. So don't despise your wilderness, it's shaping your witness. Don't curse the silence, it's where your spirit learns heaven's language. And if this message has found your heart today, take a moment, breathe. Reflect on how far you've come. You are not the same as you were when you entered this wilderness. You are wiser, stronger, softer, sharper. You are ready. Now, if these words have stirred something inside you, if they've reminded you that even your solitude carries divine meaning, let them echo outward, like this message, not for numbers, but as a sign that you choose growth over comfort. Share it. because someone else wandering through their wilderness needs to know they're not lost. Subscribe, not as an act of habit, but as a step of alignment to stay connected to this flow of revelation. And if your heart feels led, consider a donation, not out of obligation, but as a seed of gratitude. When you sow into the place that feeds your soul, you're not just giving, you're participating in the movement of light. Every gift, no matter how small, becomes a ripple that carries hope to another heart. Think of it like this: when you pour water on a seed, you're not losing it, you're multiplying life. Every offering you make is water to a garden you can't yet see. So, as the wilderness begins to whisper promises of dawn, stand tall. Chosen one, you are emerging from this place with power. The voice that once cried in the desert will now echo through nations. And one day, you'll look back and realize the silence was never empty. It was holy. Chosen one, pause for a moment. This is not coincidence. This is not timing you created. Heaven has interrupted your path once again. You were not scrolling aimlessly, you were summoned. This moment is a sacred interruption, a divine appointment wrapped in ordinary seconds. So much of your life has been a story of unexpected turns, hasn't it? Plans that unraveled, relationships that dissolved, opportunities that vanished. Just as you were ready to step in, you looked up to heaven and whispered, "Why now?" But heaven was whispering something deeper. "Because I'm protecting you from what you can't yet see." Love every delay, every closed door, every sudden redirection, none of it was random. God has been orchestrating divine interruptions, rerouting you away from destruction, steering you toward destiny. What you saw as detours were actually deliverances. What felt like endings were disguised beginnings. You may not have realized it, but divine timing rarely comes wrapped in comfort. It often comes disguised as disappointment, because God would rather interrupt your plan than watch you settle for less than His promise. When He blocks something, it's not rejection, it's redirection. Chosen one. Heaven interrupts when the soul starts drifting. Maybe you've been running on autopilot lately, functioning, surviving, keeping busy, but not truly being. You've been doing what's necessary, but not what's divine. And so heaven says, "Stop. Listen. I'm speaking. Right now." This is that interruption. Everything else around you might still be moving, but your spirit has stopped to receive a message that could shift the course of your life. Divine interruptions often feel inconvenient, but they carry revelation too big to fit into your schedule. Remember Moses. His life changed, not on the throne of Egypt, but in a pause by a burning bush. Remember Mary. Her destiny began with an angelic interruption that broke all logic. Remember Paul. His path flipped on a road he thought was his own. You are standing in that same kind of holy disruption, as heaven speaks clearly through the words in Deuteronomy, chapter 31, verse 8. "The Lord Himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged." Sometimes divine interruptions come through closed doors. Sometimes through unexpected pauses. And sometimes through messages like this, words that pierce straight through the noise and find your heart trembling on the edge of surrender. This is one of those moments. Do not despise the interruption. It means you are loved too much to be left wandering. It means your path matters too much to heaven to let you keep running without direction. It means your heart is still soft enough for correction. You might have felt lately that everything you touch stops moving, that momentum has faded. But what if this pause is not punishment? What if it's protection? What if God is saving your energy for the right door? The one that won't just open, but stay open. Every interruption carries an invitation. Right now, the Spirit is inviting you to trust again. To believe that even the moments that feel like delay are part of a bigger divine choreography. You are not being punished, you are being positioned. Think of your life like a symphony. Sometimes heaven must silence one instrument so another can tune. What sounds like silence is really preparation for harmony. What feels like stillness is actually heaven fine-tuning your spirit. You may have lost people, places, and plans along the way, but you haven't lost your purpose. You are still on track. Even detours in the hands of God become direct routes to destiny. The steps of the righteous are ordered, not optional. So breathe. This interruption is heaven's kindness, not its cruelty. The things that stopped moving were not your source. They were just scaffolding. The true structure of your future is being built in secret. When the time comes, the same God who paused your plans will propel you forward with precision. Chosen one. Take comfort in this truth. What is delayed is not denied. Heaven is aligning what you prayed for with the person you're becoming. You can't receive the promise while still thinking like the person who started the journey. The pause has been transforming you from within. Now, if this word has reached your soul and you can feel that this moment is not by chance, respond not with fear, but with faith. Type the number 888 inches, the comments below. Let it be your prophetic declaration of new beginnings and divine alignment. When you write it, you're not just typing digits, you're agreeing with heaven's interruption. You're saying, I receive the pause. I trust the plan. I'm ready for what's next. So, chosen one. Lift your head. What stopped was never meant to end you. The interruption was God's hand, holding you back from the wrong door so He could guide you to the right one. The page is turning. The script is shifting. You are stepping from interruption into instruction, from delay into destiny. You have always known, somewhere deep in your spirit, that you are different, not better, not above, but different from your earliest days. There was a quiet awareness that you did not quite fit the rhythm of the world around you. While others seemed at ease in conformity, something inside you stirred, restless and awake. You tried to silence it once, didn't you? You tried to blend in, to laugh like everyone else, talk like everyone else, want what everyone else wanted. For a time, it seemed easier. Camouflage looked like peace. But the longer you hid, the louder the restlessness grew. It was as though your spirit refused to stay small. Because heaven never called you to blend in, it called you to break through. Chosen one. What makes you different is not a flaw, it's evidence. It's the divine fingerprint stamped on your soul, declaring you belong to a higher order of purpose. You were not placed on this earth to mimic others. You were placed here to mirror heaven. That difference has often cost you comfort. You've been misunderstood because your depth unsettles those content with shallow waters. You've been criticized for feeling too much, seeing too deeply, caring too fiercely. But remember this: the same oil that anoints also isolates. The same fire that purifies also separates. Your uniqueness is not accidental, it is architectural. God designed you to carry dimensions others could not. Your mind processes differently. Your heart discerns differently. Your timing flows differently. That's why comparison has always been poison to your peace. You were never meant to walk their path. You were chosen to carve your own. The world rewards imitation, but heaven honors authenticity. And the truth is, your authenticity scares people who have forgotten their own. When they mock your difference, they're really reacting to what they lost, their connection to purpose. You are a reminder of what they abandoned, the courage to live truthfully. Chosen one, you must stop apologizing for your light. You were not created to dim, so others feel safe in darkness. Your difference is not arrogance, it's assignment. It's not rebellion, it's revelation. You were not made to follow the crowd, you were made to carry the cross. As the Apostle Paul reminds us in his letter to the Romans, chapter 12, verse 2, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Oh, those words are not merely instruction, they are invitation. To live transformed is to live awake in a world that sleeps, to think differently, love differently, and move differently, even when it costs you acceptance. You've paid that price before, haven't you? You've lost friends, jobs, and relationships because of your conviction. You've been told you're too intense, too sensitive, too spiritual. But what they call too much is exactly what heaven calls just enough. You were never designed for moderation in a world addicted to mediocrity. Every generation needs a few who refuse to be molded by fear. You are one of them. That restlessness you feel is not rebellion, it's remembrance. Your soul remembers the sound of heaven. It refuses to settle for the noise of earth. There will always be tension between who you were and who you're becoming. Transformation doesn't feel gentle, it feels like tearing. Because every time God calls you higher, He must first loosen your attachment to what's beneath. So, when it feels like your circle is shrinking, or your interests are changing, or your peace no longer fits old environments, that's not loss, that's elevation. Your difference will continue to make some uncomfortable. That's okay. You are not here to please comfort. You are here to provoke change. You are a divine disruption in human form. A reminder that truth still breathes, that faith still burns, that light still wins. In quiet moments, when doubt creeps in and you question if you're enough, remember this: God did not make a mistake when He made you. Every quirk, every instinct, every longing was intentionally placed. You were crafted in the rhythm of eternity and released into time as a vessel of divine expression. Chosen one. When you walk into rooms and sense atmospheres shift, that's not imagination, it's influence. Your spirit carries authority that cannot be explained but can be felt. Darkness notices you before people do. And yet, you must remain humble. For your difference was never meant to inflate ego, but to expand impact. Your calling will not always make sense, and it won't always be celebrated, but it will always be worth it. The narrow road is lonely, yes, but it's also sacred. Few travel it, and fewer finish it. But those who do become living proof that heaven still walks among men. So, embrace your difference. Protect it. Nourish it. Don't bury what heaven planted just because others can't see its beauty. Seeds look strange before they sprout. Cocoons look ugly before they fly. The same people who call you strange today will one day call you strong. You were chosen for contrast, to stand where others fall, to shine where others fade, to speak truth where others stay silent. The difference you carry is not a burden, it's a bridge. Through you, heaven touches earth. Through your obedience, others remember who they are. So walk boldly. Chosen one, be unapologetically who you were made to be. You are not random, you are rare. You are not misplaced, you are positioned. You are not too much, you are just enough for the divine plan written with your name on it. The closer you walk with purpose, the heavier it can feel. Every step toward destiny carries a cost, and the chosen ones always discover it sooner or later. The cost of carrying glory. It sounds beautiful when spoken aloud. Glory, calling, anointing, but few truly understand what it requires to hold it. The light that shines through you was not given cheaply. It was forged in seasons of surrender, shaped in tears, and sealed through sacrifice. The glory you carry didn't come from a stage or a song. It came from secret places where no one clapped, and heaven alone was watching. Chosen one, there is weight in your calling. To be trusted with divine fire means being willing to walk through earthly flames. You cannot carry revelation and remain unchanged by it. Every time heaven deposits more of itself in you. Something of the old, you must die. Glory costs comfort. Purpose costs pride. Anointing costs anonymity. You felt that cost already. The loneliness that comes with leadership. The misunderstanding that shadows your obedience. The spiritual exhaustion that follows every victory. The glory you carry is not ornamental, it's operational. It demands purity, patience, and perseverance when no one sees your effort. Sometimes you've asked, why me? Why must the road be so steep? Why must the lessons be so hard? But heaven answers, because I trust you to bear it without breaking. There are mantles others could not carry. There are burdens that would crush ordinary hearts. But yours has been strengthened by surrender. As the Apostle reminds us in his second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 10, we always carry around in our body the death of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may also be revealed in our body. This verse is not poetry, it's blueprint. To carry glory means to carry both life and death at once. The death of ego, the death of control, the death of what was never meant to live, so that resurrection can rise through you. Chosen one, do not resent the cost. You cannot carry what you have not paid for. Every tear you've cried has been currency in heaven's economy. Every time you said yes when no would have been easier, you were investing in your own authority. Every secret act of obedience was a down payment on the destiny you now hold. There is beauty in the breaking, though it doesn't feel like it. When your plans fall apart, heaven's plan takes shape. When your strength runs out, his begins. You may feel weary, but that's only because you are being refitted for greater purpose. You are evolving into someone who can hold the next level without crumbling beneath it. The cost of glory will always include surrender. It will strip away your need for validation. It will challenge your patience. It will separate you from comfort zones that no longer fit. But in return, you will gain vision, endurance, and authority that cannot be manufactured or taught. There's a reason God allows your process to be so private. He is protecting you from pride. He hides his vessels while they are still fragile. The unseen years are not wasted. They are protective, wrapping for something sacred. When the unveiling comes, the weight of glory will rest on a foundation tested by time. Sometimes, carrying glory feels like carrying fire in your hands. You want to share it, but it burns to hold. You want others to understand, but they can't comprehend the heat. And yet, that fire is what makes you alive. It's what keeps you from becoming like everyone else, lukewarm, dimmed, disconnected, chosen one. Never mistake exhaustion for failure. You're not burning out, you're being refined. The reason the warfare feels heavier is because the oil within you is richer. The stronger the fragrance, the greater the crushing. The more powerful the light, the deeper the preparation. Glory will set you apart, but it will also set you on fire. It will purify what remains impure, humble what still clings to pride, and awaken what has fallen asleep. It will not let you stay shallow. It will not let you settle. Because glory is jealous, it demands all of you. And yet, for all its cost, the reward is incomparable. You will see lives shift because of your obedience. You will speak, and hearts will awaken. You will walk into rooms, and atmospheres will bow. Not because of who you are, but because of who walks with you. So, carry the weight with reverence. Walk carefully, but boldly. The fire that refines you will soon radiate through you. And when the world looks at you and sees only calm, heaven will smile because it knows what it took for you to stand this tall, this pure, this steady. There comes a moment in every chosen one's journey when the path narrows, when every sound grows still, and heaven seems to hold its breath. You stand there between what was and what will be, your feet trembling on the edge of destiny. This is that moment. You are standing at the edge. You've been climbing for years, haven't you? Step by step through the wilderness, through betrayal, through confusion, through dark nights when the stars seem to hide. You've prayed for direction, for confirmation, for clarity, and now you can feel it in your spirit. Something is about to shift. The air itself feels charged. Heaven is waiting for your response. Chosen one, every person called by God must stand at this edge. Abraham did when he left his home for a land unseen. Moses did when he faced the sea with no bridge. Esther did when she walked toward the throne, uncertain if the scepter would rise. Every chosen one reaches this divine cliff of decision, where one more act of obedience changes everything. You are there now. The Spirit is whispering, do not look back. What's behind you is familiar but fruitless. What's ahead of you is unknown but full of glory. This is the place where heaven measures your faith, not by your words, but by your willingness to step. As the ancient words recorded in Joshua, chapter 1, verse 9, declare, have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you. That verse is not a suggestion, it is a summons. Strength is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward despite it. Courage is not the loud roar of confidence. It's the quiet whisper that says, I'll obey anyway. End of teen. Standing at the edge will test everything in you. You'll question your worth, your timing, your readiness. You'll wonder if maybe you misunderstood the calling. But that uncertainty is not the enemy, it's the invitation. Because faith can only be proven in the unknown. You cannot fly while still clinging to the cliff. There comes a time when the only way forward is a leap. And yes, it feels like falling, but it's actually flight disguised as surrender. Heaven never lets you fall. It only teaches you to soar in ways gravity cannot comprehend. The hardest part about the edge is the silence before the wind catches you. You take the step, and for a moment, nothing happens. The fear screams. You've made a mistake. But then suddenly the wind of God lifts you higher than you ever imagined. That's how obedience feels at first, terrifying. Then, transcendent. Many never experience this because they choose safety over surrender. They camp at the edge, decorating delay and calling it discernment. They keep praying for confirmation while ignoring conviction. But chosen one, that's not you. You've been through too much to turn back now. You didn't survive storms to stop at the shoreline. Heaven is waiting for movement, not perfection. The next chapter of your destiny will not open until your feet leave the ground of the familiar. The unknown is not your enemy, it's your next level. The edge is not the end, it's the door. The fear you feel right now is not a warning, it's proof that the moment is holy. Every great transformation begins with trembling. Every miracle begins with movement. When you take that first step, you're not stepping into danger, you're stepping into destiny. Listen carefully. Your obedience in this season will become someone else's deliverance. The decision you make at this edge will echo in generations you may never meet. Your courage will break curses. Your surrender will unlock blessings. Your faith will rewrite history. And when you finally step, you'll realize the cliff was never a threat. It was an altar. God brought you here, not to scare you, but to show you how to trust without proof. Now, I want you to seal this moment not with fear, but with faith. Comment below, I step forward. No, when you type those words, you are not writing for me, you're writing for heaven. You're saying, I choose trust over terror. I choose destiny over delay. That short declaration becomes your signature on heaven's contract of courage. Chosen one, you've been prepared for this. Every scar, every lesson, every night of tears, they've all been leading to this edge. And though your knees may shake, the ground beneath you is holy. The wind of God is waiting to lift you. So, breathe deep. Lift your eyes. The unknown is not empty, it's occupied by God's promise. You're not about to fall, you're about to fly. Step forward and watch heaven move. Chosen one, the heavens have not forgotten your name. Even when you felt invisible, even when the world seemed to move past you, your story has been written across eternity. Your name is not lost in the noise of creation, it is etched into the heart of God. Your name is in the heavens. Every sigh, every whispered prayer, every why that escaped your trembling lips has been recorded. The angels do not overlook your pain. The Lord does not discard your waiting. There are scrolls in heaven filled with your moments, tears turned into testimony, pain turned into prophecy. You've thought your faith went unnoticed, but heaven has been keeping score with compassion, not numbers. You may have looked at others rising faster, shining brighter, being celebrated while you were hidden. You wondered, does God even see me? Oh, chosen one, He does. But when heaven writes your name, it doesn't just mark what you've done, it marks why you did it. He weighs motives, not metrics. He honors purity over popularity. obedience over outcome. As the psalmist wrote in the sacred songs of David, chapter 56, verse 8, "You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle," recorded in your book. Those tears you thought vanished, they didn't. They were stored as evidence of faith. Heaven keeps them because they are proof of trust. Your cries in the dark have built monuments in the light. God does not waste the broken pieces of your heart. He turns them into stained glass windows that reflect His glory. Chosen one. When you walk through fire, heaven writes faithful. When you endure storms, heaven writes steady. When you choose forgiveness instead of bitterness, heaven writes royalty. You are not defined by your wounds. You are defined by your worship in the midst of them. It's time to shift how you see yourself. You are not behind. You are being built. You are not delayed. You are being developed. God does not rush masterpieces. Diamonds are hidden before they shine. Seeds are buried before they bloom. Stars are seen only in darkness. And you, too, have been hidden in divine timing. Think of your life like a painting, seen too close, brush strokes of chaos, colors of confusion. But when heaven steps back, the image is breathtaking. Every line of loss, every shade of sorrow becomes part of something glorious. When you feel small, remember, the stars do not compete for brightness. They simply burn as they were made to, and even in silence, their light reaches distant worlds. You are that kind of light. Even when no one claps, your glow still guides. So today, as you hear these words, take a moment to breathe. Place your hand over your heart and feel its rhythm. That's not just your pulse. That's proof that heaven still has purpose for you. You are still alive because your assignment is not finished. If this message has stirred something deep inside you, if it reminded you that you are seen and remembered, respond in a way that carries meaning. Like this message, not out of habit, but as a sign of agreement. Heaven still knows my name. Share it because someone else has forgotten theirs, and your obedience could reignite their hope. Subscribe if your heart hungers for reminders like this, for words that call your spirit back to purpose when life grows heavy. Stay close, because each message builds upon the next. Each one a key, unlocking what's already written over you. And if your heart feels moved, consider donating not as payment, but as partnership. Every contribution, no matter how small, becomes a drop of oil that helps keep this lamp burning. When you give, you are not funding words, you are fueling transformation. You're helping heaven reach another soul standing in silence. Think of it like rain, watering a seed in someone else's desert. Your generosity becomes ministry. Your kindness becomes light. You are part of the story. Heaven is still writing one heart at a time. Chosen one. Lift your eyes tonight and look up. The same God who hung the stars also numbered them, and He remembers yours among them. You have not been lost in the crowd. Heaven has been whispering your name since the beginning, and its echo still travels through eternity. So walk forward knowing this. You are recorded in the archives of grace. Your faith is inked in the script of redemption, and when the author finally reads your story aloud before angels and nations, it will not be a story of failure, but of faithful endurance. The light you carry, chosen one, is not like any other light. It doesn't flicker with circumstance. It doesn't depend on attention or applause. It is a light born of fire, fire that once burned through your pain, your confusion, and your loss, until all that remained was truth. You are a living torch, and the darkness has always known your name. You did not choose this light, it was entrusted to you. Long before you knew the language of faith, heaven breathed something luminous into your soul. That divine spark has survived every storm you've faced. Every trial that tried to dim it only refined its brightness. Every betrayal that tried to break you only expanded your glow. But carrying light has never been easy. Light is heavy. It exposes everything around it. It reveals what others would rather keep hidden. Sometimes you've wished you could set it down, just blend in for a while. Stop seeing so deeply. Stop feeling so much. Yet the light refuses to go out. Doesn't it? It burns quietly inside you, reminding you that you are not meant to hide, but to shine. Chosen one. Your presence alone. Unsettled darkness. You've walked into rooms where tension broke without a word. You've comforted people who couldn't name their pain but felt safe in your company. You've carried peace into places that had forgotten what peace felt like. That's not personality, it's purpose. The reason the enemy tries so hard to drain you is because your light disrupts his domain. You are a walking contradiction to despair. Your laughter disarms heaviness. Your compassion disarms cruelty. You bring warmth to cold hearts without even realizing it. But light bearers must learn this truth. You cannot pour endlessly without returning to the source. As the prophet Isaiah once declared, chapter 60, verse 1, Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. Now, that verse is not a command of pressure, it's a declaration of identity. You are light. You were never waiting for it to arrive, you were waiting to recognize it within yourself. The glory that rises upon you isn't a distant glow descending from heaven, it's the eternal flame already burning inside, being stirred again by divine breath. There were seasons when you dimmed yourself for the comfort of others. You tried to be smaller, quieter, less intense, believing maybe if you toned down, you'd be easier to love. But heaven never asked you to shrink to fit human insecurity. You were meant to illuminate, not imitate. Light doesn't compete, it completes. When one flame burns brighter, it doesn't steal from the others, it gives permission for them to shine too. That's what your presence does. Your endurance tells the weary that they, too, can rise. Your faith in the unseen teaches others to look again at their own reflection and remember their divine creations, not mistakes. The light you carry is revelation in motion. It reveals purpose in places that have forgotten hope. But light is only effective when it's placed where darkness is thickest. That's why you've often found yourself in difficult spaces, not because you did something wrong, but because you were sent to bring sight to the blind and warmth to the cold. Chosen one. Understand this deeply. The darkness around you is not always an attack. Sometimes it's an assignment. You were never called to escape it. You were called to invade it. You are heaven's answer to someone else's night. Still, be wise with your light. Guard it. Don't let bitterness or exhaustion dim what took so much fire to build. You are not required to light every room that refuses illumination. Some places prefer their shadows, and that's not your failure, it's their choice. Your responsibility is simply to keep burning faithfully wherever God places you. Remember, light travels even when unseen. Long after you've left a place, the glow of your words, your presence, your compassion remains. Like starlight that reaches the earth years after its source has gone quiet, your influence will outlive your presence. One day, when you look back, you'll realize that the flicker you protected through storms became a beacon for multitudes. The little flame that once trembled in you has become a wildfire of hope. That is what the journey was always, for not fame, not recognition, but illumination. And when you finally see the full picture, how every trial became a torch, how every heartbreak became a lantern, you'll understand why God trusted you with the light. You were chosen not just to shine, but to teach others how to burn without being consumed. So, let your light stand tall again. Don't hide it behind fear or fatigue. Let it spill into corners where despair whispers. Let it remind the forgotten that dawn is near, because when you shine, heaven is seen. And when heaven is seen, darkness loses its claim. Chosen one, the time for delay has passed. The wind of heaven is shifting, and the sound you hear in your spirit, the stirring, the trembling, the sense that something is about to break, is not imagination. It is divine urgency calling your name. This is the call to rise. You've lingered long enough in the waiting room of destiny. You've questioned, analyzed, and prayed for confirmation until your prayers became comfort zones. But now, the season of hesitation is ending. Heaven is no longer asking for your permission, it is demanding your participation. Chosen one. This is not another motivational whisper. This is heaven's command. The assignment you carry is time-sensitive. There are people connected to your obedience, souls waiting for your voice, healing waiting for your hands, transformation waiting for your yes. If you delay, they delay. If you rise, they rise. It's not just about you anymore. Your obedience is a key that unlocks doors for others. Your breakthrough becomes their blueprint. Your surrender becomes their survival. You are a catalyst for change. And heaven is tired of watching you second-guess yourself. The Spirit says, move now. Move even if your hands shake. Move even if you're scared. Move even if you don't see the whole staircase. Because every step you take in faith causes the next to appear beneath your feet. God doesn't reveal the full map because He knows you'd never start if you saw how much faith it requires. You've been in the preparation stage long enough. The waiting was never wasted. It built muscle in your spirit. It taught you patience, sharpened your discernment, strengthened your hearing. But the time of learning has shifted into the time of leading, as the word of the Lord declares in the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 2. See, darkness covers the earth, and thick darkness is over the peoples. But the Lord rises upon you, and His glory appears over you. And this is not just poetic language, it is prophecy fulfilled through you. The world is heavy with confusion and fear, and the light of God must now rise in the ones who've been hidden, refined, and prepared. That's you. You are heaven's response to the chaos of this generation. The longer you wait, the heavier the burden feels, not because you're weak, but because purpose grows restless when it's restrained. The gift inside you is pressing against the walls of delay, crying, "Let me out." Every time you ignore that urge, you're dimming what heaven meant to shine. Chosen one, rise, not in pride, but in power, not in noise, but in knowing the same Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead lives within you. It's not a metaphor, It's a mandate. You are equipped. You are appointed. You are ready. Even if you don't feel like it. The fear you feel is not a warning. It's proof that destiny is near. Every giant that stands before you is trembling because they recognize the authority rising inside you. The enemy is not fighting you because of where you are. He's fighting you because of where you're going. So stand tall. Step out. Speak up. The world doesn't need another voice of doubt. It needs the sound of obedience. You've carried revelation in silence long enough. Now it must be released. Heaven is expanding your influence. But expansion only happens when you move. Think of a seed buried in the soil. For months, it looks dead, but under pressure, under darkness, under waiting, it gathers strength. And when the moment comes, it doesn't ask for permission to break the ground. It erupts through it. That's what's happening to you now. The call to rise is not gentle, it's volcanic. You will know you've stepped into destiny when everything you feared begins to serve your purpose. The same rejection that once hurt you will become proof that you were set apart. The same wounds that once silenced you will become the reason others find healing in your words. And when you rise, you will not rise alone. Your obedience will cause a chain reaction. The silent ones will find courage. The broken will find hope. The weary will find faith again. Now, if this message has pierced your spirit, if you can feel the pull to move, to act, to obey, then don't let this moment pass. Heaven is waiting for your agreement. Comment below, 999. This is not a number for luck. It is a declaration of completion and new birth. It says, I choose to rise. I release what's behind me. I step into what's ahead. When you type it, let it be more than text. Let it be testimony. Chosen one. You've lingered in the shadows long enough. The trumpet is sounding. Heaven is calling. The time is now. Rise and watch what follows obedience. Something is shifting in the atmosphere around you. Chosen one. You may not see it with your eyes yet, but your spirit feels it, the acceleration, the divine movement, the sudden clarity that has begun to unfold in places that once felt closed. You've stepped into a season of prophetic acceleration, where what took years before will now happen in moments. For so long, you prayed for progress, but the ground beneath you seemed still. You sowed faithfully, and it looked like nothing grew. You served in silence, but heaven seemed quiet. Yet suddenly, things are aligning with precision that defies logic. That's not coincidence, it's fulfillment. The waiting season was your preparation season. And now, the clock of heaven has struck appointed time. No, chosen one. Acceleration doesn't mean chaos. It means divine synchronization. Everything that seemed delayed was actually being prepared to arrive together. The connections, the opportunities, the revelations, they are now converging like rivers returning to the same ocean. This is not random motion. This is prophecy unfolding in real time. As the ancient prophet wrote in the book of Amos, chapter 9, verse 13, "The days are coming, declares the Lord, when the reaper will be overtaken by the plowman and the planter by the one treading grapes." End of. That's acceleration. The harvest will meet the sower in the same field. The prayers you whispered years ago are meeting the promises being released now. Heaven is collapsing, timelines in your favor. Where you once crawled, you will now run. Where you once waited, you will now witness. But with acceleration comes responsibility. When God moves quickly, you must move wisely. This is not the time to question, it's the time to discern. Not every open door is divine. Some are distractions dressed as destiny. Acceleration can overwhelm those who mistake speed for success. Stay anchored. The wind of acceleration is meant to carry you, not consume you. There will be days when it feels like too much is happening at once, when blessings and battles arrive side by side. Do not panic. Remember that growth and warfare are twins. They always arrive together. The greater the acceleration, the stronger the opposition. But the same wind that pushes against you is the wind that will lift you higher if you position your sails correctly. Chosen one. Heaven is aligning details you didn't even pray for. There will be sudden meetings, divine encounters, unexpected favor, and doors that swing open effortlessly. You'll walk into rooms that feel familiar because your spirit was there long before your body arrived. Every delay you mourned is about to make sense in one breathtaking moment of revelation. The key now is obedience without overthinking. Acceleration rewards the quick to listen and the slow to doubt. This is not the time to ask, how? It's the time to say, here I am. Heaven can do more with one step of faith than you can do with a lifetime of analysis. In this accelerated season, even your mistakes will work in your favor. God is redeeming lost time, repurposing wrong turns, and turning what the enemy meant for delay into divine momentum. You'll find yourself walking into promises faster than your mind can comprehend. Because destiny doesn't move by clocks, it moves by obedience. This is also a season of divine clarity. The fog that once clouded your direction is lifting. People who were not meant to go with you are fading from your circle, not as rejection, but as release. You will sense freedom where you once felt friction. That's how you'll know acceleration has begun. It simplifies everything unnecessary. Do not fear the pace. Chosen one. You were built for this moment. The same God who called you is the one empowering your steps. He will not send wind without giving you wings. And though the speed feels new, your spirit was born in eternity. It already understands this rhythm. Soon, what used to take years of striving will unfold with a single word. Your voice, refined in silence, will carry new authority. Your prayers, once whispered through tears, will begin to manifest like lightning across the horizon. Heaven has remembered every seed you've sown, and the ground is finally releasing its harvest. So, walk carefully, but confidently. The season of prophetic acceleration is not about racing others, it's about running your divine course. Keep your eyes fixed on the one who called you. The same hand that started your story is now turning its pages faster than ever before. You waited long. You endured well. Now, chosen one, watch how quickly God redeems time. The air has grown heavier, hasn't it? You can feel it, the tension between promise and resistance, the invisible weight pressing against your progress. Every step forward now seems to awaken opposition you didn't invite. Don't be surprised. Chosen one, the moment acceleration begins, the battle intensifies. Spiritual warfare is not a punishment, it is a signal. The enemy doesn't waste resources on what poses no threat. The fact that the pressure has increased means heaven's plan through you is advancing. You are no longer simply being refined, you are being released. and darkness knows it. You might not see the full picture, but in the unseen, the war has shifted. The forces that once whispered doubt are now shouting because their time is short. You're taking ground that was once theirs, breaking patterns that have stood for generations, restoring what was long thought lost. Every breakthrough costs something, and this, chosen one, is the cost of victory. You've noticed how old fears try to resurface when new doors open. That's not coincidence, it's strategy. The enemy loves repetition. He cannot create, only recycle. He sends old temptations, familiar distractions, former wounds, all dressed in new disguises, to make you question whether you're truly free. But you are not who you were. You've grown. What used to bind you no longer fits you. Remember, the battle is not only around you, it's within you. The war between your old mind and your renewed one, between doubt and destiny, between surrender and self-reliance. But the moment you choose peace over panic, faith over fear, heaven wins another round. As the ancient words declare in the book of Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 12, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms." That truth grounds you. The battle is real, but so is your covering. You are not fighting alone. Armies of light surround you, even when you cannot see them. The same God who sent angels to strengthen Jesus in Gethsemane sends help to you now. Every prayer whispered in faith summons divine reinforcements. You have to understand something profound. Light does not fear darkness, it defines it. Darkness is not the opposite of light, it is its absence. The moment light enters, darkness must retreat. That is why your presence agitates what is hidden. You don't need to fight with anger, your very being is warfare. The intensity of this battle is proportionate to the inheritance ahead. The greater your calling, the greater the conflict. You were never meant to fight small fights. You were designed to shift atmospheres. You are a key piece in a cosmic conflict that began long before your birth. The light within you terrifies the kingdom of darkness because it reminds them of the one they could not defeat. You've been noticing the signs, dreams that feel heavier, thoughts that come uninvited, moments of unexplainable weariness. These are spiritual tremors, not random waves. It's the enemy trying to wear you down before the breakthrough. But what he forgets is this: the more he presses, the more heaven pours. The harder he hits, the stronger your anointing grows. Pressure forges power. In every battle, there is a moment of silence before victory, a stillness that feels almost eerie. That's where you are now. Don't mistake the quiet for defeat. It's the pause before the trumpet. Heaven is aligning reinforcements, repositioning angels, and preparing your next move. This battle will not end in exhaustion, it will end in elevation. You are not losing strength, you are gaining stamina. The blows you take now are teaching your spirit endurance that will serve you for years to come. The weapons formed against you will not prosper, not because they won't appear, but because they cannot prevail against someone who knows who they are, chosen one. This is not just another storm. This is the final clash before manifestation. The enemy's attacks are loud because he knows his grip is slipping. Every chain that once held you is rattling loose. Every curse that followed you is breaking. Every false word spoken over you is collapsing under truth. So, stand firm. Guard your peace. Pray from victory, not for it. You are not fighting for survival. You are enforcing what heaven already decreed. You carry authority in your words, power in your worship, and fire in your faith. You are not fragile. You are fortified. When the dust settles, you will look back and realize that the battle was never about breaking you. It was about building you into a weapon of light. And when you walk out of this war, you won't just carry scars, you'll carry spoils. For this is the season where the chosen rise not as survivors, but as soldiers crowned in quiet triumph. And as the battle intensifies, remember this truth: the louder the war, the nearer the victory. Chosen one, the season you have stepped into is holy. The battle behind you was never meant to destroy you, it was meant to crown you. The weight you've carried, the tears you've shed, the prayers you thought fell into silence, all of it was preparation for this, the season of crown and consecration. You have been refined through fire. You have been pressed like oil. You have been stripped of illusions and emptied of pride. And now, heaven places upon your spirit a crown not of gold, but of glory, a mark of endurance, obedience, and unwavering faith. You are being consecrated, set apart for something eternal. You may not see a physical crown, but heaven does. It glimmers each time you choose forgiveness over resentment, humility over revenge, stillness over fear. It shines when you comfort others from wounds that once bled. Your crown is not decoration, it is declaration. It says, I have endured, and I am still standing. End. Chosen one. Consecration is sacred isolation. It means God trusts you with what others could not carry. It means you've been anointed to walk differently, speak differently, live differently. You have been set apart, not for privilege, but for purpose. Heaven has chosen you to be a bridge between what is and what will be, to carry light across generations. As the Apostle Paul reminds us in his second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 8, Now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the Judge, will award on that day to all who long. This crown is not earned through applause, it's received through endurance. It's heaven's acknowledgement of faith that refused to quit. You didn't just survive the valley, you kept your worship there. You didn't just endure the fire, you let it refine your love. That's why you're crowned. Think of yourself as a tree planted through many storms. The bark bears scars, but its roots have reached water deep below the earth. The storms didn't uproot it, they taught it where strength truly comes from. That's what consecration is, knowing the difference between noise and nourishment. Now that you've been crowned, heaven is expanding your responsibility. You are not being elevated for self. This is about stewardship. The oil on your life is meant to flow outward. Your wisdom, your compassion, your story, they are medicine for those still bleeding where you once bled. This is where you begin to live, not just for God, but from God. The crown on your head is not to remind others of your worth, it's to remind you of His faithfulness. You wear testimony now. Every scar glows with proof of divine preservation. Chosen one, take a breath. Feel the weight of this moment. You've been asking, what now? This is your answer. Now, you pour out. Now, you serve. Now, you shine without apology. Heaven crowns only those willing to keep giving when the world stops watching. You are entering a phase where your presence carries peace. You'll notice people drawn to you, not because of charisma, but because of clarity. They will sense calm in you that can't be explained. That's consecration, the invisible glow of one who has been touched by divine fire. But remember, crowns must be guarded. Don't let distraction steal your discipline. Don't let pride dim your purpose. The same humility that brought you here must keep you here. Stay grounded. Stay gentle. And keep your heart soft enough for heaven to move through it. And if these words have stirred something inside you, if you feel the sacred weight of this moment, then honor what you've received. Like this message, not for algorithm, but as an act of gratitude. It's a way of saying, I receive this crown with humility. Share it. Not for numbers, but because someone else is walking through their own refining fire and needs to know there's purpose in the pain. Your simple share might become the whisper that keeps them holding on. Subscribe if your spirit has found a home here, so that you stay connected to words that nurture your growth and remind you of your identity when the world grows loud again. And if your heart feels led, consider donating, not as a transaction, but as a partnership. Think of it as oil returning to the lamp, helping this flame continue to reach those still sitting in shadows. Every gift, no matter its size, becomes light carried forward. You're not funding content, you're fueling calling. Finally, leave a comment below, something born from your heart. Tell me what part of this word resonated with your soul. When you write, you're not just engaging, you're testifying. Someone will scroll down, read your words, and find hope again through them. Chosen one, walk tall. You've been crowned in unseen places. You've been set apart in secret chambers. And now, the world will see what heaven already knew. You are chosen, consecrated, and called to reign in grace. There is a stillness after the storm that feels unfamiliar, isn't there? Chosen one, you fought so long that peace feels strange in your hands. You wake up expecting battle, yet there is silence. You keep glancing over your shoulder, waiting for another wave. But this time, the sea is calm. You have entered a sacred space, the realm of the unstoppable one. You've crossed through seasons where strength was measured by survival. Now, your strength will be measured by stability. You no longer react, you respond. You no longer chase, you attract. The same faith that once helped you endure pain will now help you sustain purpose. This is not arrogance, this is awareness. You have walked through the valley of shadows, and now you walk with authority. You no longer fear the dark because you've seen what light can do when everything else fades. You carry quiet power, the kind that doesn't need to announce itself. You've been trained by tears, molded by silence, and strengthened by surrender. Chosen one, remember how you used to panic at the first sign of resistance? Look at you now, calm, composed, discerning. That transformation didn't happen overnight. It was born from countless nights of wrestling with fear, countless mornings choosing faith again. You have earned this peace. It is not borrowed, it is built. As the Apostle Paul wrote to the Corinthians, chapter 15, verse 58, "Therefore, my beloved, stand firm. Let nothing move you. Always give yourselves fully to the work of the Lord. Your labor is not in vain That command is more than encouragement, it's identity. Let nothing move you. Not criticism, not confusion, not the opinions of those who do not understand your calling. You are a tree planted by rivers of living water. Seasons may change, but your roots remain. This is the era of inner stillness. The enemy no longer frightens you with noise because you have learned to recognize peace as a weapon. Stillness terrifies darkness. It's proof that fear no longer has control. When you rest in God's promise, you wage silent warfare that the enemy cannot counter. Unstoppable does not mean untouchable. You will still face opposition, but it will not destabilize you. The same waves that once threatened to drown you now carry you forward. The same pressure that once felt like pain now feels like propulsion. That's the mystery of transformation. God doesn't remove the elements. He changes your relationship to them. You are learning to walk in rhythm with heaven. You no longer beg for signs. You interpret seasons. You no longer chase validation. You embody value. You've become fluent in the language of grace, where patience speaks louder than panic and purpose whispers louder than pain. There will still be storms, yes, but you will move through them differently. You will discern which battles are yours and which belong to God. You will no longer exhaust yourself trying to fix what He is still forming. You will learn to rest while He rearranges, to trust while He transforms. Unstoppable doesn't mean reckless, it means rooted. It's the quiet confidence that no matter what rises against you, the outcome has already been written. You stand in victory before the fight even begins. That's why your peace feels offensive to the enemy. It proves he's already lost. Chosen one. Look back at the version of you who once doubted, who once begged for reassurance, who once thought the pain would never end. Now look at you, unshaken, wiser, carrying grace like armor. You are the evidence that endurance produces strength, that surrender produces stability. You have stepped into divine maturity. The weapons that once worked against you no longer have access. The enemy cannot distract what has become disciplined. The world cannot pull down what heaven has anchored. You are living proof that transformation is real. Soon, you'll realize that being unstoppable has nothing to do with force and everything to do with flow. You've stopped fighting against divine timing. You've begun to move with it. You've stopped demanding answers. You've begun to embody trust. That is where true power lives, in surrender, not struggle. And now, the world will see it. They'll notice the calm in your eyes, the confidence in your silence, the authority in your gentleness. You are no longer chasing peace, you've become it. You are no longer praying for breakthrough, you are the breakthrough. This is who you were always meant to be. Not loud, not frantic, not disparate, steady, certain, unstoppable. There is a moment, after every long journey, when heaven breathes and time itself seems to pause. You have reached that place. Chosen one, the threshold where endings melt into beginnings. The battles behind you, the tears you've shed, the victories you didn't even realize you won, they have all led here. This is the final seal, the closing of one chapter and the quiet opening of another. You may not hear trumpets or see lightning, but your spirit feels the shift. Something has been completed. The weight that clung to your shoulders is lifting. The heaviness that lingered in your heart is loosening. This isn't just relief, it's release. Heaven has stamped your process approved. Chosen one. What once broke you has now become your foundation. Every shattered piece has found its place in the mosaic of your becoming. The pain that once blurred your sight has now sharpened your vision. You see more clearly, love more deeply, and stand more firmly than ever before. The fire you endured didn't burn you. It branded you with divine resilience. You carry the scent of survival, the quiet confidence of someone who has walked through chaos and found peace on the other side. People may not understand the depth of your transformation, but that's because they didn't see the depth of your surrender. Heaven saw it. Though, heaven recorded every moment you said, "Still, I trust you." There is something sacred about completion. It doesn't come with noise or spectacle. It comes with knowing. The kind of knowing that sits deep in the soul, whispering, "It is finished." You no longer strive for what was already settled. You no longer chase what was always meant to find you. This peace is not shallow. It is the kind forged only through endurance. As the prophet Isaiah declared, chapter 43, verse 19. "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland." Unquote. That new thing is already unfolding within you. The wilderness that once surrounded you is now blooming. The dry ground beneath your feet is cracking open with rivers of renewal. The places that once mocked your faith will soon bear fruit from your persistence. Chosen one. The final seal is not just closure, it's coronation. You have graduated from surviving to stewarding. You are no longer running from battles, you are commanding them. The authority you carry now was paid for in the currency of tears and time. You walk differently because you've earned this stillness. You've outgrown certain storms. They no longer have access to your peace. You've outgrown certain people not because of pride, but because your path requires altitude. Not everyone can breathe where you're going. That's why God released you from what no longer aligns. What felt like loss was actually lift. You stand now at the edge of a horizon painted with promise. Ahead lies a land of fulfillment, not free of challenge, but full of meaning. You are stepping into days where everything you've learned will finally make sense. The pain, the pauses, the pruning, they were not random. They were rhythm. Every beat of heartbreak was heaven's metronome, keeping time with your destiny. There is a peace now that passes understanding, not because life is perfect, but because your heart is anchored. You no longer need constant signs to believe. Your belief has become the sign. That's maturity, when faith stops being a feeling and becomes your nature. Chosen one. Walk gently but surely into what comes next. You don't have to announce this new chapter. Your presence will speak it. The authority in your silence will say more than any declaration ever could. Those who once doubted you will witness the unveiling of everything they couldn't see in you. And though the journey continues, this portion of it closes with glory. The final seal has been placed, not to end your story, but to preserve it, to mark this moment as holy. Heaven has written beside your name, faithful. You are stepping now not into uncertainty, but into fulfillment. The new thing has already begun. The door behind you is sealed, and the one before you swings wide open. Step through it with calm assurance. For the same God who carried you this far will not stop now. The wilderness is behind you. The rivers are ahead. The page turns quietly, and heaven smiles. The final seal is complete. Chosen one. You've reached the end of this journey, but not the end of your becoming. Every word you've read, every truth that stirred inside you, was heaven's way of reminding you who you are: chosen, crowned, unstoppable. You've walked through revelation and refinement, and now you stand radiant whole, awakened, ready. If this message has spoken life into your spirit, like it not as habit, but as an act of gratitude for how far you've come, share it. So, another wandering soul might find their reminder too. When you pass light forward, heaven expands its reach through you. Comment below, what part of this journey touched your heart the most? Your words may become the confirmation someone else was praying for tonight. Subscribe to stay connected, because this flow of divine wisdom continues. Each message is another piece of the map, guiding you toward your greater purpose. And if you feel led, consider donating, not to repay, but to plant seed into fertile ground to help this message reach the next heart waiting in silence. Every offering keeps this flame alive. Stand tall. Chosen one, your new era has begun. Heaven is watching, smiling, whispering, well done.